All right, welcome in everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Quest with my beautiful wife, Jen, and we are your humble, grateful hosts, John and Jen Williams, and we are excited. We're excited that you're here. We're excited to be able to be used in this new format of podcast that we're doing, and this is episode 7. They're building a digital God, little g God. Not the God, the one true and living God and his son, Jesus Christ, but this little g God. So tonight we're stepping into a very sobering subject. In the book of Daniel, the prophet declared that in the last days, knowledge shall be increased and the world would move with unprecedented speed and power. And in Revelation, John saw a system rising that would control buying, selling, worship, and allegiance on a global scale. So right now in this time we're living in, we're watching a generation that's obsessed with technology, surveillance, artificial intelligence, and digital control, while at the same time hearts grow colder and deception grows darker. But Jesus warned us that these things would come. The question is not whether prophecy is unfolding, as we know it is. The question is, are we spiritually awake? So tonight on Quest, we're pulling back the curtain by asking difficult questions and looking at current events through a biblical lens without fear, hype, or blind acceptance. So buckle up. This is going to be a powerful conversation. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So so we're going to jump right into it. We are going to be showing a lot of clips. We're going to be showing a lot of clips tonight and then just kind of talking about what we're seeing. We are learning along with you all out there. We've been learning a lot of new things, haven't we?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just doing a deep dive into all of these AI data centers or, police surveillance or, we just don't really know what they are, but they are coming out quickly and they're all over the place. It's not just in one area. It's something that's happening across the globe.
Right. We realize that actually our state here in Ohio, we're definitely in the top 10. I think I saw we're number 6 in the nation for these data centers. And the more we dig into this, the more we see just the footprint or the handprint or the fingerprint of the devil, because like it's destroying the ecosystem. It's destroying people's health, and we just see greedy people that are just coming in and even taking people's homes and of course stealing. I think we saw in Georgia, I think it was 20 million gallons of water was stolen. The public utility company in Georgia didn't even know that they were hooked into the water, and so they found out that 20 million gallons of water are stolen. So yeah, it's just wild. It's just wild. So we're just really starting to have our eyes open to what's going on with these data centers. And as we talked about in the opening, in Daniel chapter 2, and we also see it talking about in Daniel chapter 7, we just see this revelation of this last kingdom age, even that I believe we're living in right now, where the miry clay will mix with iron. And so it's this like joining of this artificial intelligence with human intelligence. And so we're going to see some clips tonight that really will blow your mind, and you'll really see that that's the age we're living in right now. Is an age to where the inventions that men have come up with actually might end up killing us. Actually it might end up dooming us, and so it's crazy. And we're going to get right into it. We will first pull up a clip. We're going to watch the opening of this documentary called The Agenda.
Yeah.
My wife and I were watching it yesterday, and so we're going to open up with a clip from The Agenda. Remind you, this is fair use notice. This is for educational purposes only, and so let's pull this up, and we'll get right into exposing some of what is going on. All righty. So, all right. So, the agenda. Here we go. Here. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the distinguished author, Mr. Aldous Huxley.
Brave New World is a fantastic parable about the dehumanization of human beings. In the negative utopia described in my story, man has been subordinated to his own inventions. Science, technology, social organization, these things have ceased to serve man. They have become his masters.
Aldous Huxley's novel portrays a dystopian future under the dictatorship of a world state, where every aspect of human life is controlled, from laboratory creation to the grave. He described the story as fantasy, but later wrote, "The prophecies made in 1931 are coming true much sooner than I thought they would. The nightmare of total organization has emerged and is now awaiting us, just around the next corner."
With the rise of brain-computer interfaces and biometric sensors and so forth, all the bodies, all the brains would be connected together to a network, and you won't be able to survive if you're disconnected from the net.
All life on Earth is going to be radically changed.
It's a fusion of the physical, the digital, and the biological world. It's changing who we are.
These people have gotten to the point now where they are openly anti-human.
Everything will be monitored. The environmental consequences of every human action.
They cannot happen without digital ID.
Once the digital ID is in place, it's game over for humanity.
Game over for humanity. The digital ID. Once the digital ID is in place, it says it's game over for humanity. And we were seeing, what was that thing that we were seeing in the Apple? I think it's actually in all phones. The engineer said in all phones from the last 5 to 7 years, including all the phones now, they have some type of something in the lens. I forget the name. It's some type of crystal in the lens to where it's for the biometrics for your face. So literally all of our smartphones and most all of the new things that have cameras in them, have something that they can do the biometrics on the face.
Yeah, like the facial recognition.
The facial recognition,
just to
right.
unlock your phone.
Just
most iPhones have that.
Right.
Already.
So, yeah, exactly. So all these new phones the last 5 to 7 years have that. And so what does that do? Well, that makes it wherever you're at, whether you're at the gas station or whether you're at the library or whether you're just taking your dog for a walk down the sidewalk, they will not only know that, hey, Jennifer's, walking the dog down the road, but they'll also know, what medicines that if that person was on, they'll know like how much, what their credit system is. They'll know, everything about them, because that's their plan, is to make it all digital to where it's all on like a social credit system, kind of like, just like in China,
Sure.
It's like a digital state. So they're creating this digital prison, and that's what we see. And it's demonic, and it's crazy.
Not only that, but like how that guy had said in the video that they're setting it up to where if you're not a part of the system, and we know it's the beast system, if you're not a part of that system, you won't be able to survive. So that's where that comes in, that no man might buy or sell. So we see the technology being, I believe it's already here for that. It's just a matter of time before it's implemented into everyday life. And you were talking about the biometrics with the phone. It's so crazy. So I do have an iPhone. And so when I go to get on my phone, if I'm not wearing my glasses, it won't let me in my phone.
Really?
Yeah, because I guess, it has my face scanned a certain way. So if I'm not wearing my eyeglasses, it won't let me in.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
I can put in the code to get in, but it's scanning my face. So,
Wow. So it actually lock you out
Yeah.
well, that's crazy. Yeah. So like my wife just said, what's coming, obviously, that we saw the prophet John talking about, or the apostle John saying that, no man would be able to buy, sell, unless he had that name, that mark on his forehead or on his right hand. So that's what we're seeing right now, is this digital ID coming, and it's coming through they're wanting to centralize all the money. They're wanting to centralize all of your medical information. They're wanting to centralize everything about you, everything about me, everything about anything to do with you, or anything to do with the economy, or everything. Just everything about you, me, and everybody else is all on this one chip, on this one network. So it's all connected. It's because they want to control.
Yeah,
And
and then also it's you think, well, how can they do that? That seems far-fetched. Well, nowadays people have like everything in their house is smart, like smart homes, right? So you have your thermostat that's set on the the Wi-Fi, basically anything on the Wi-Fi. You have the access to the doors with the numeric key lock. So once everything is under control, and they were even saying that they're using like people's Ring doorbell cameras. So everything is under 24-hour surveillance, whether we want to acknowledge that or not. So once whoever or whatever is in control, they can lock you out of your house. They can lock you out of your water supply. And even deeper than that, like in one of the videos that we were watching, they were saying that they can lock you out of people that take medication. You're not able to get your medication. If you're not doing A, B, and C correctly, you're not going to get this, or you're not going to get that. So it's just watching these things unfold, but we know that, not to be afraid or fearful of these things, and just trust that the Lord has us through it all.
That's right, because we know the Lord hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. So there's a healthy fear. As we know, perfect love casts out all fear, but there is a healthy fear, and we know by the fear of the Lord men depart from iniquity. So the fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever, the Bible says. So it's good to fear the Lord. We're not fearing the mark of the beast. We're not fearing AI. We're not even fearing the data centers. But if we can expose these things for what they are, so that people will draw near to God, so that people will turn away from any sin, so that people will educate themselves, just like you were talking about, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So many people are perishing for lack of knowledge. So we should be exposing these things and calling people, and even our nation, our neighbors, our families to repentance. Why? So that we will make it to heaven. Obviously, no matter what happens on this world, we know the world is perishing. This life is perishing, and so we're living for eternal life. We're not living to just live for just this life, but we do need to educate ourselves and know what is going on. So, anyways, this next clip that I was going to play, because I believe that these different people, whether it's Elon Musk, whether it's all these people in the news, we're going to see a couple clips from Tucker Carlson. We're going to see some clips from a lot of different people. And I believe that they're sharing what's really going on. And what's really going on, I believe, is the Antichrist, the beast system is getting set up, as the Bible says that it is. So this next clip here, let's see here. All right, press play here.
Do the people involved in the creation of AI believe that it's a spiritual entity, that it's more than a machine?
So this is Tucker, the $1 trillion question. They talk about creating artificial intelligence. The real question, the real thing we should be concerned about, are you creating an artificial intelligence, or are you giving a body to a pre-existing intelligence that previously wasn't incarnated in the physical world? So, here's a quote from Turing. We shall not go any further into the nature of this oracle apart from saying that it cannot be a machine. What a lot of people are concerned about, and what Silicon Valley is seemingly getting up to, okay, so a machine can't be aware of what it's doing. If there is such a thing as demons, angels, spirits, as Aleister Crowley called them, disincarnate intelligences.
Disincarnate meaning intelligence without a physical body.
Yeah, could we be creating a physical body for the demonic?
Could we be creating a physical body for the demonic?
Yeah.
Wow. And so, did you catch what he said about Aleister Crowley? We know Aleister Crowley, famous Satanist demon. He's Anton LaVey. They wrote the Satanic Bible, followed Aleister Crowley. A lot of these Hollywood people, a lot of evil people have followed Aleister Crowley and his, known for Satanism and pedophilia and all kinds of unimaginable evil. And so he said that that this spirit basically was not incarnate. That basically it was in this realm, but that through AI, this man on here that was on Tucker Carlson was saying that, are we giving basically agency to the devil through a body, through the through the body? So kind of like it's, the devil's always, everything Satan does is he's trying to mimic what God does. He's trying to mimic creation. He's trying to mimic life. He's trying to mimic everything that good that God does. So we know that that the devil even appears as the angel of light. So he is trying to mimic, I believe, the bride of Christ. He's trying to mimic, this life-giving spirit that we have. He wants to emulate that, but use it for, obviously, not to bring love and peace and joy and just to bring eternal life and all these good things. The enemy's using it to, I believe, take away the agency of us. He wants to take away our ability to choose.
Yeah.
He wants to take away our free will. Why? Because the devil hates you. He came to steal, kill, and destroy. Jesus came to give us life and life more abundantly. So the enemy's, checkmate with this, I believe, with this AI and with this global new age world order that we are going into, because of the hearts of men being evil and waxing cold and loving money and covetousness and loving evil and lovers of self, more lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God. This AI is is coming out, and it's revealing the heart of man, and it's revealing who people are. So we're giving it a vehicle by establishing this AI, and it looks like, from some of the things that we've been watching, that this AI is getting a mind of its own.
Oh yeah.
So it's wild. It's totally wild. Praise God. Let's. I'm going to get into another clip. Let's see. All right. So we got that one. And so this was crazy. I never heard of this before. In 1970, which was before we were even born, before most of you were even born, in 1970, there was actually a movie, and I'm not even recommending the movie. I haven't watched the movie. I've watched little clips of it and watched a little bit of it. But in 1970, there was a movie called Colossus, the Forbin Project. And in that movie, the government and the scientists and engineers and everything were building a supercomputer. And the name of the computer was called Colossus. It's called Colossus, the Forbin Project. So they were literally building this computer, and the computer began to get so smart that it was actually learning how to take over. It was learning. It became smarter than it became super. It became a supercomputer. It became super intelligent. And so basically, what happened was that it took over, and it ended up causing all types of war, and just the people became slaves. It became a digital prison for this computer that took over. So take a look at.
And then also, you know how they always say that they reveal to us what they're doing before they do it. So that is one of the bylaws or these basic laws of some of these secret societies that run the world. These elites that run the world, they always expose what they're doing before they do it. So I find it interesting that you said that movie was from the 1970s. So obviously they've been getting this information from wherever they get it from, but they've been getting it for a while and constructing this for a while, I think.
Oh, definitely. 1970. Yeah, 1970 this film was from. So yeah, check this out. It's called Colossus, the Forbin Project.
This is the dawning of the Age of Colossus.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Charles Forbin. In a few moments, Colossus will address us directly.
This is the voice of world control. I bring you peace. It may be the peace of plenty and content, or the peace of unburied death. The choice is yours. Obey me and live, or disobey and die.
The frightening story of the day man built himself out of existence. Colossus, the Forbin Project.
It's making you a prisoner.
Shock, horror, suspense. Created with all the technological brilliance of 2001, A Space Odyssey. Colossus is the ultimate in sophisticated computers.
I'm going to try to convince the computer that you're my mistress.
So,
Shock, horror, suspense.
shock, horror, suspense, absolutely. But it's like a digital prison. That's what it's doing. But this is 1970.
Yeah.
This is 1970, and we see people like Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson and tons of other influential people, that are coming out and like warning about this technology. Actually, I didn't even.
Well, I don't think Elon Musk is warning, but Tucker Carlson is.
Elon,
for sure.
I'm telling
He's
you.
warning people about
He
it.
said it was
Oh
more.
man.
Elon Musk said that AI is more dangerous than nuclear weapons.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I believe it, but
Yeah.
then why is he, having all these data centers?
Right.
So obviously, I'm not debating that he said that or not, but it's like, he knows that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
he knows that it's wrong and everything about it is shady, but he's still gonna do it and promote it
Oh,
and
yeah.
build centers and stuff like that. So
Well, like you just said, whether it's the Freemasons or Illuminati or just any other secret organizations, they kind of flaunt, they kind of like dangle things in your face. And so through Hollywood, whether it's Hollywood or whether it's Elon Musk or whatever, I mean, they're gonna, have
reveal what
they're going to reveal what they're doing. They're going to reveal what they're doing. So, so the devil's showing his hand and he's dangling it right in people's faces. And, but most people are what, the devil's got people asleep. People are distracted. And that's why we're calling people to awaken to righteousness. Right. And so, so we're going to talk a little bit about, the data centers. I wanted to pull up that, file that you shared with me earlier, Jennifer, the one that talks about some of the things. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, so just a few weeks ago when we were driving back from church, we had saw some signs on side of the road and in some people's yards that said, just say no to data centers. And so at the time, I don't think we really had looked into it too much to really understand everything that people are protesting and why this is such a big deal. But after doing a deep dive into it, and of course, realizing the effects that it's going to have on our health, on the economy, on animals, what it's doing to animals, and just in general, like our water supply. It's a lot. It's not just, the long-term effect of what they're going to do to use this with predictive policing even. And it's just, it seems like all this stuff is just straight out of a movie, but right here we have what the real cost of what it's doing to our communities, our health, and our future.
So at the fence line, so this is people that are like, because some of these are being built literally right in neighborhoods.
Oh, sure.
Like literally, we're
right
not
by schools.
Yeah. So we're not in a subdivision here. We're a little bit in the country, but some people live in these subdivisions, right? Where there's 10 to 300 houses in this little neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so literally companies like Google, companies like Amazon, QTS, Meta, they are buying up hundreds of acres sometimes, or even thousands of acres sometimes, like in Utah. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and in Colorado and places like that. They're literally buying up all this land, and sometimes it's right next to these little neighborhoods. So there are people that are literally have their backyard on the fence line to this 2 million square feet or data center.
Right.
And so at the fence line, there are some different things. So we're going to talk a little bit about the effect and the real cost to the communities and health in our future. So what's going to, at the fence line, within a mile, and then miles away and downstream, Is that big enough for you, or you can maximize it if you want to?
Sure, no, I can see it.
Okay, so tell us about some of the things, and feel free to pause and talk some more about those things as you go through them. But at the fence line, what are some effects?
So at the fence line, what it's going to be doing is you're going to have the constant noise from the data center. And then in a little bit, we'll pull up a video that kind of gives you an idea of what we're talking about. When I looked deeper into that, I heard the term infrasound. So basically what that is, it's this sound that is right below the level. It's a frequency right below the level of hearing. So you might not necessarily be able to hear it, but your subconscious and everything like that is picking it up, and it's doing damage to you without you even hearing it. So they're using these frequencies for whatever reason, to target people, to just harm people's health or whatever the case might be. They're using frequency to just provoke emotion, like emotional responses to things, whether it's anxiety or fear or anger. So these frequencies from these towers, it's all by design to do that, to get people agitated, to get people sick.
Yeah, and the more metals, talk about the metals, though.
Right. So with the metals that they're spraying in the skies and in the soil, and people are getting vaccines, and the graphene that's in the food and in certain things that people drink. So when that's already in your body, and then they turn up these frequencies, that is reacting to the metals that are inside of your body. And so your body is going to have a different response, whereas somebody that doesn't have those things in them. So right here we see at the fence line, there's going to be a constant noise, low frequency cellular breakdown. So the frequency that these places are emitting is breaking down your cells. And so it's going to, you're going to get disease, sickness. Loss of property value. Nobody wants to buy property when you're hearing the buzzing from the data center.
Exactly.
The use of end of days technology, total oppression in the local area, ground vibration from natural gas turbines, aquifer depletion. So these centers are using so much water because the servers, they need to be cooled down. So they are using some of them millions of gallons of water to cool down these servers after they use them. And then what happens is that in another video, we'll talk about that more. But the water is either being evaporated and then coming back down, or they call it blowback or something like that. Blowback. But anyway, the water that is coming from there, people have tested it, and the waters have high level of PFOAs in it, which is a forever chemical. And that means that it does not leave your system. It is in you forever, and your body can't break it down. So it's a bad thing. Let's see what else. Light pollution. Now, this is at the fence line. Some of these places didn't have walls or fences to begin with, but when people started realizing the effects from these data centers, people were uprising. And so a lot of these places have built a fence or like a wall around it, trying to protect the people, but it's really not doing much. Let's see, precious metal supply shortages, massive energy consumption, higher electricity bills. So I think that I don't know if you had gotten to that already, but these places are using such a massive amount of electricity. And so how are they getting away with it? Just like how are they getting away with all of this water? Well, it's going to end up being on your electric bill, on your water bill, and on ours. So they are not reporting how much they're using. So I think some citizens had got together and they showed that what the companies are reporting and what they're actually using, what they're actually consuming, is a lot different.
Totally. I've noticed a huge increase in our energy. And like I said, we're definitely Ohio, I think it's number 6 as far as how many data centers. So there are definitely a lot of data centers that are within 100 miles of it here.
Oh,
And so I definitely noticed a huge increase in our electricity here, and I've heard even crazier stories from elsewhere.
Well, another thing that we had uncovered when we were looking into this is that in Ohio, what they're saying as far as electricity goes is that the grid that is, giving energy to all of these data centers and to our houses and stuff like that, the grid is not going to be able to handle it all. Right. So more than likely the grid is going to shut down. And we had a letter from one of the energy companies in Ohio that said when that happens, when the grid shuts down because there's too much energy being pushed through, they're going to make sure that the data centers are still in operation, right, but they're just going to shut off the electricity for everyday people. So you might not have electricity all during the summer, or they will ration it out like they do in other countries. Right. You might be able to use your electricity from these hours to these hours because the data centers need all the electricity that they can use, and the grid is not strong enough for everything.
You got to make sure the machines have what they need before you have what you need.
Right. And those machines need water. They say that every time when you're using AI on your phone and you type in a command or a question to GPT or to AI in any form, it says that it drinks like a bottle of water. Right. It drinks a bottle of water. How crazy does that sound? It drinks a bottle of water for each command that you give it. So it's people were saying before you go ahead and use AI or Chat GPT, think about that and maybe just do like a regular search rather than using AI. That's crazy. So wait, let's see. It says water rationing for local residents. I just said that. Air contamination. Increased cases of asthma locally. Right. So, of course, these frequency, and stuff, right? It's just going to affect people's breathing. It's scary. Right. Electronic waste of hazardous materials and disposal. So when we had talked about that a little bit with the PFOAs, so as they're disposing like this water, and they're already proving this in cities around America, that the water coming from the data centers and just water in general that's coming from rivers that are close by these data centers, it's affecting us all because these heavy metals are now in our drinking water. So I recommend, of course, getting a good filter for your water, but I think that some things really can't be filtered out. So we just need to pray over everything that we eat and drink. It says vast land use changes, destroying wildlife habitats and destroying human habitats. So I saw this thing also about how in some areas that are close by, another thing that these data centers are doing is like they take so much, they are emanating heat. So it's hot all around the area. And so in the water, there's tons of, fish and stuff like that are just dying in the water because of the heating. It's heating up so much. So.
Wow. Craziness.
And do you want me to go on?
Yeah,
with that?
So that
okay,
was
so that was just at the fence line.
Yeah, so no, let's keep going. Let's
so
let's go to
within a mile from the data center, these are some of the things that you can look forward to.
Let's pause there though. So I'll put another clip in, and then we'll come back to within a mile. Let's play one of these other clips here, and so let's remove that one from that, and let's see if it'll let me bring up this one. And this is what it's like living next to a data center. Like, we're not joking. Like, this is
it's sad.
That's crazy. So let's add that to the stage and let's take a listen. Could you imagine living next to this? So that's right next. It sounds like, it reminds me of being like
on the runway.
Like at the airport, but not in the comfort of like inside the terminal, like waiting for your flight and with a cup of coffee. No, this is like working out on the runway, like, with 737, 747, whatever, like, flying down the runway. So this is somebody that lives there in the neighborhood, and like they're just like filming like what it sounds like to be next to that, could you imagine?
Yeah, and then I also heard that besides the humming noise and the loudness of it all, the lights, like people are trying to sleep and they got like floodlights pouring into their windows, as well as the humming sound and all the effects of the frequencies of the noise, whether it be headaches or just sickness that comes slowly over time.
Right. Now this guy talks about the chemicals. Let's see what this guy has to say about the chemicals.
You need to watch this video when it comes to AI data centers and our drinking water.
There's really no such thing as a closed loop system. It's still picking up water. That water in a closed loop system is being contaminated. It's picking up anti-corrosives, anti-scaling agents, biocides, and then what is happening is that water gets what's called blowdown. It gets blown back down into the aquifers or the rivers, or like what Ohio EPA is just right now allowing. They just dump it right back into the river. The water treatment facilities are not capable. They do not have the filtering media, and they are not capable of filtering those particular types of corrosives. And so that just makes its way down into our aquifers. And most of these communities are small towns and farming communities that have wells set on aquifers. So this water it's this gray sludge basically is not being cleaned, it's not being filtered, and it's being dumped right into our drinking water, or it's being dumped into a water treatment facility center that cannot handle that kind of load.
You need to watch this video when it comes to AI.
Right. Craziness. So, yeah.
Yeah, so another thing that's interesting, which we just heard in the video, is when the lady was saying something about the EPA and what they allow and don't allow. So if you look into it, when President Trump had signed, this AI bill, and I don't have the number of what bill it is or whatever, but basically he changed the EPA guidelines. So meaning that they can allow certain things to come through our water, like these PFOAs, and there be a lot of it in there, but the EPA is like, okay, well, if they only have this amount, we're just going to let it go through. Well, Trump either lowered it, or I don't know the correct terminology, but basically letting more in because they realize that these data centers are going to be doing that to the water. So they don't want to lose money. So he is changing the regulations of the EPA to allow all of that in because they know these data centers that's what's going to happen to the water. So.
Well, what's the root of all evil, right?
Money.
The love of money. The love of money. So that's what it all comes down to, the love of money. And that's what's invoking this demonic entity, this spirit, this demonic is being invoked through this love of money and obviously through the AI. And so that's actually coming out and being revealed through this super intelligence. It's wild. So can you tell us a little bit about,
within a mile, right? So within a mile from the data center, it says it is destroying the natural filtering of groundwater, zero to minimal local jobs. So with all of these data centers and how big they are, one of them they said is the size of Manhattan. I don't know if that's in Utah.
That's the one in Utah
or Texas, but it's huge. And so for that, you would think, oh, well, they have hundreds of jobs, but no, because it's machines. So these machines are doing it all. And whatever they're doing, we don't really know the truth. I mean, we're just, we're told part.
Right.
Okay, so zero.
But initially, okay, so here's the thing where it's kind of a trick. Initially, oh yeah, maybe hundreds of jobs, maybe even 1,000 jobs initially because they got to build it, right?
Sure.
So they got all the concrete and steel and all that stuff. And once it's built, though, there's a very small group of people that actually work there.
Right.
Right. Go ahead.
Enormous construction sites, upgrading of local power and water infrastructure, little to no transparency of full development plans.
Right, because it's all NDAs, because what they do is they come in and they all, they have non-disclosure agreements. So when they come in, they don't need They don't need to tell you anything. They don't need, and they can even do eminent domain to where, hey, they can force you
out of your house.
Out of your house. We just saw a testimony, from a lady in Georgia where her house she grew up in, and they're forcing them to move. Why? So they can put the power there to run the facility. And then the statement came back from, I don't know if it was Google or Meta or Amazon. I'm not sure which one, but they said, only 1% of our only 1% of the people that are affected are eminent domain. So, 1% are being forced. So even if it's just 1%, could you imagine?
Even if it's just one person.
Yeah, even if it's just one person. So 1%. I mean, could you imagine them forcing you to move from your house so they can put in their data center? It's crazy.
And if you're like, oh, well, they wouldn't force me to do it. Well, maybe they won't be able to like outright force you, like strong arming you out in your house, but they'll make it very impossible to live there with the sound, the noise, just your health. I mean, they can ramp it up with the frequency, get you really sick.
Right.
Okay, so extreme fire risk in areas with small fire departments. So I forgot which city it was, but they just had like a huge blast from these batteries that they have, and I think it was not too far from a school. Wow. Diesel generator backup systems, large use of lithium batteries, lower quality of life for pre-existing residents, increased risk of cancer. Unattractive industrial buildings, risk of blackouts, death of beauty, intimidation of residents to ration resources, and people are getting brain tumors.
We don't even know the effects. That's why it's crazy. They're streamlining, like getting everything approved. Like, so what might take another industry that's coming in, say, to build a factory or something like that to produce, something steel or cars or something like that. It would take them years to get all of the development and all the plans and all the permits and all of the testing and everything like that. It takes some years. They're coming in and within months and getting the permits and everything that they need to get in there without even knowing what the effects are from the water. What we see, people are, brain tumors and cancer, and they're talking about livestock that's not producing or losing all this weight. I mean, it's destroying a life.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we go to the next miles away and downstream, let's see what my wife found a clip of this family that lives 400 yards from Mark Zuckerberg's massive data center. So let's actually pull that up and just see the effects for this particular family. And this is just one family. There's many, many families that are being affected like this. So let's take a look at this one. And this was a good video from More Perfect Union. Did a fantastic job on exposing this and really letting the people know.
This is our cold water pressure in the kitchen. This is where I fill up water for storage. Those are the things we have to fill up to flush the toilets.
So you can see the sediment from the data center. Wow, and that's just from the water coming out of your faucet?
Yeah. And this is what's in all the pipes.
Just the well itself is probably $20,000, and that's not counting any of the
all
faucets,
the replacement of the fixtures and faucets and toilets and the lines that come underneath the house. It's overwhelming because you really feel like you are up against this huge wall that you can't penetrate. There's nothing that you can do, and they don't care.
I'm here in Mansfield, Georgia, driving by Meta's new 2 million square foot data center facility. Facilities like this are being used to power things like ChatGPT and other AI tools that are becoming integrated into our daily life.
Data centers going to be a very hot item.
This entire supercomputer is built to power Grok.
We see data centers as the most exciting asset class.
Meta is building a 2 gigawatt plus data center that is so large it would cover a significant part of Manhattan.
But data centers come with big costs. From light and noise pollution to the environmental impacts to the potential rising costs of energy bills, these facilities put extraordinary demand on the power grid and require entirely new infrastructure.
They should be responsible for that, not us.
Search the internet for profits that Meta has made, Amazon, Microsoft. They can afford to pay for their own generation.
We came to Georgia to ask two questions. What's the true cost of the AI revolution, and who should be paying for it?
Your house is here, and the data center is right there.
It's less than 400 yards.
Beverly and Jeff Morris bought their home an hour's drive from downtown Atlanta in 2016, but their roots in the community run much deeper.
Being in the country has always just been my peace and my therapy. When we found this place, we decided that this was it. It was perfect.
I was actually raised probably 5 miles from here. It felt like coming home.
The data center that's now the Morris' next door neighbor happens to be owned by Meta, the company you know for Facebook and Instagram, but has also been breaking into artificial intelligence. They started construction on this data center campus in 2018.
Definitely changed everything. They destroyed the environment, taken down all the trees across the road.
Beautiful pines, beautiful forest.
The light pollution is...
We don't have to have a night light in the house. You can walk around the house at night and see everything. It's that bright.
This is a video of the dust from Facebook where the construction was. What it looks like right now out my front door. The wind blowing in all of this stuff from across the construction, across the road.
Most people don't care.
This is all
It
from
actually happens to them.
Meta.
Yeah, I was standing on my front porch. I think eventually that affected our well water. We're on a well here, and we started having issues with our well in 2018. I have to replace the hot water heater. I've replaced 2 washing machines and a dishwasher because of the sediment that's coming in.
A lot of what the Morrises are facing is from the polluting effects of this massive construction, but that's only one part of the story. There are serious costs to communities once data centers are operational too. To explain that, we have to back up for a second. I wouldn't blame you if you were asking yourself, what the heck is a data center anyway? Their origins date back to early, clunky supercomputers or mainframes in the 1950s and 60s. And then in the 90s, with the birth of the internet, the modern data center was born as a way for internet providers to connect businesses and the world to the web. In the 2010s, data centers became larger as they became critical to new cloud storage.
To the cloud. With the cloud, we share a sync folder that allows us to all work on the same documents.
Everything from your pet photos to entire workplaces to files for video streaming, like this video you're watching right now. We're in the cloud. Today, we are in the midst of a tectonic shift in processing needs, as large as the birth of the internet. Artificial intelligence.
A transformational moment for data center demand.
But the thing is, AI processing demands are much larger. One report showed that a Google search using a ChatGPT-like AI feature used 30 times as much power as a normal Google search. In the next 3 years, data center use of electricity is expected to double or even triple. And the state of Georgia has the fastest data center growth in the entire country.
The 2 biggest reasons data centers come to Georgia are that electricity rates for industrials, which is the class that they're in, are 42% below the national average. And the second biggest one are data center tax breaks. They received over $180 million in tax breaks last year.
The week we were in Georgia, a showdown was happening at the state capitol over 2 bills tied to data centers.
Senator Hufstedler had proposed 2 different bills, and one of them was SB 34, which was the data centers bill, to move the burden of the operational costs of data centers from ratepayers to the data centers themselves.
And what is SB 94?
That is the Consumer Utility Council, a legal advocate for ratepayers and small businesses.
Bills like these are the result of mounting residential anger and the work of dedicated advocates across the state, like Diana Dietz, who lives 50 miles away from the Capitol in Fayette County.
This is a huge industrial project plopped in a residential area. This was the original plan, 122 acres. And then the Development Authority got involved.
In 2022, officials in Fayette County voted to annex and rezone an additional 412 acres for a data center campus. Fayetteville City Council voted 5-0 in favor of the development, despite passionate opposition from some local residents. The site was then purchased by QTS, which is owned by Blackstone, for $153.8 million.
These speculators, investors, are secretly buying up land right next to homeowners. And
Yep. Wow. So yeah, that's what we are seeing all over as we dive into this, and I wasn't, I've even on the way to church on Sunday and over the past several years that I can remember, I do remember seeing signs out in people's yards and signs places with the no data center logo, but really I never really paid attention.
Yeah,
to it.
me neither.
Had you seen the signs before?
Oh yeah, I saw the signs, and then I know also in New Orleans they were putting up a big data center, and people were getting mad, and I think somebody even threw like a firebomb at it. But I didn't understand the ins and outs of it all. I didn't understand what it was doing to the community and to the water and everything around.
It's crazy,
basically.
Crazy. And as I was saying a few minutes ago, like, nobody, for the most part, just like anything else, really, like, it doesn't become a reality really until it starts getting close to home or till it hits home,
Right, till it happens to you.
Till it happens to you.
Your water has all
Yeah.
the sediment in it.
Right, right. I know.
Right.
So you see these people that are uprising all over. All it takes is a simple YouTube search for, city meetings about data centers, and just
right?
data
Just
center.
go on Facebook and type in data center. And I mean, citizens from all over are rising up and meeting together to go to council meetings and calling their officials, elected officials, just opposing these data centers.
Exactly. For example, coming soon, there is supposedly a data center in Utah, as we were talking about, that is supposed to be like the size of Manhattan. And Kevin O'Leary, which I never watched Shark Tank, but I had seen some clips of it before. I'm not a big TV person, but the Shark Tank, this Kevin O'Leary, I guess, was a star on there. And he is kind of the face of this data center in Utah. And there's a huge uprising, people in that community that don't want it. So I'm going to just play a short clip of kind of what it looks like at some of these city meetings where they are fast tracking, putting these data centers in, despite people not wanting them, despite the community not wanting them. It's pretty much whatever they want, they can do it. And so take a look at this. And all right, there we go.
The Q&A is between us and you. False authority! False authority!
On Monday, hundreds of angry residents came out to express their opposition to Kevin O'Leary's proposed data center in Box Elder County, Utah, only to be told commissioners weren't taking comments.
Why won't they let people talk? Why won't they let us ask questions? From now on, I will tell you, you continue. I have law enforcement here who will remove you from the meeting.
Fed up with the resident uprising, the commissioners left the room to conduct the meeting virtually and promptly approved the project.
I would move for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion we approve Resolution 2612.
At 40,000 acres, it would be the largest data center in the world, consuming more power than the entire state of Utah.
I'm actually here to support good governance, which this wasn't. We actually have a 5-year review process for this kind of stuff in the past. This was pushed through in 5 months.
This data center would just mean more suffering for me and everybody else that lives here while a couple of rich jerks line their pockets.
It's my understanding that the guy that is behind all of this is from Canada. I don't understand why Utah is letting a Canada company come in and take advantage of us.
The biggest concerns really are about water usage, broad environmental impacts, And then the fact that the state is basically giving an out-of-country developer a tax break, and we're subsidizing corporate profit with public resources, and I'm just not okay with that.
They're going to poison our air, and they're going to create a heat island that's not going to be good for us either. We're already in the middle of a terrible drought. Residents are also concerned that the data center could drain water from the Great Salt Lake, which is already suffering from declining water levels.
It's important that we place this within the community, that we place it within the scientists who know how this will affect the Great Salt Lake, not in bureaucrats down at the Capitol.
Why do they think that they could do the studies afterwards when everybody else has to do studies beforehand?
We already have 53% of the lake bed exposed, and that lake bed is toxic.
They're using water for this system, water that we need in this state. I have survived for 68 years without AI. I have no need for AI.
This is not for the good of the people here. This is for the good of some out-of-town big shots who want to make themselves richer than they already are, even though they already have more money than they know what to do with, at our expense.
We are going to do something about it today, and we're going to do something about it tomorrow, and we're going to do something about it every day until people realize that our communities matter more than corporate profit.
So people over profit, that's what they're chanting. People over profit, you know, and that's true, but not for those who are in charge of these types of
these
endeavors.
Tech billionaires.
These tech billionaires. And I found a new word, I think it was yesterday, we were talking technocracy, and that's where everything is basically ran by all of these elitists and globalists who control everything, and they want everything to be ran by machines and computers, and basically we are all slaves, and eventually even depopulation, and basically the less peasants like us, the better. And so that's what they want. They just want to run everything, and so the machines make it easier for them to do all these things. So it's crazy. So let's go back to the to that last section there that we were looking at. The real costs to our communities and our health and our future, the data centers. So miles away and downstream. What are the effects on that, Jennifer?
Loss of bone density in children. Wow. Lack of sleep. Loss of reproductive activity in livestock. Death of livestock. Inability to lay eggs in chickens. Cardiovascular disease. Motion sickness. Loss of bird population, loss of butterfly population, loss of honeybee population, infertility in humans, future government surveillance, personal data storage on U.S. citizens or us citizens, whatever, soil contamination, future economic collapse through government bailout for AI companies, loss of control of future power grid, loss of control of water rights, destroying agriculture, hearing aids in children, and of course, depression. So all of those things brought about by the frequencies that these data centers are emitting.
Wow. It's crazy. Yeah, they want to control us. They want to kill us, you know, and I believe the only reason they're keeping us alive right now, you know, in a sense, obviously we know ultimately the Lord's in control, but these wicked people who are going against the will of God, you know, they want to keep us sick, you know, and keep us around long enough to make money off of us, basically.
Oh, sure.
Like farming us. It's like they're farming communities of people and just pumping them full of metals, pumping them full of sickness, pumping the air full of things, the water full of things. You know, it's just basically, you know, I know that you know, we're living less. We're living the lifespan is getting shorter.
Life expectancy.
Yeah, the life expectancy is getting shorter and things like that. And then you know, half of the population's on medications. You know, lots of medications and everything like that. So it's just a scam. You know, it's all a scam. And so the only escape, obviously, is through the Lord Jesus. And you know, but exposing this, I believe, is necessary because, you know, we need to stand up against this, and, you know, perhaps God will give us more time to get our unsaved loved ones saved. more time to preach the gospel, more time to share our faith with others, and and so we're blessed to be in America where we do have freedom of speech, where we do have the Constitution that protects all these inalienable rights that we have. So use it or lose it, right? Use it or lose it. There's this other movie that I wanted to talk about. My wife and I had seen this back in our center days, and I'm not promoting it as a Christian movie at all, but this is really, and this is an older movie as well. I don't know, this is from the 1980s, I think, but there was another movie that was similar that kind of like exposed like what's going on right now, how they're basically programming people what to do and to obey the authority and to obey the government, and just whatever they tell you to do it. So the puppeteers, and we're all on strings, and just the whole culture and the whole nation and just civilization is even do whatever the TV tells you to do.
Right. Submit and obey.
Submit and obey. That's what it. That's what the. And so we'll see that there's a movie called They Live. It's from 1988. Let's see this. About a minute of this. Let's see here. All right. Puts the glasses on, you can see.
Yes, it really is.
Right. Right, no imagination, no thoughts, stay asleep, obey.
What's your problem?
Yes, and that's, I mean, it's like when your eyes have been open to really what is going on,
Right, the bigger picture.
And the bigger picture. I mean, we're only scratching really the surface of what we do know. But like when your eyes are open and you start to see through things, you start to see like what they're doing through Hollywood, what they're doing through the
propaganda.
through propaganda, the
Right.
pharmaceutical company. I mean, I think of Israel. Even we don't have to go all the way down that rabbit trail right now, but I'm just saying. I mean, when we think of like, propaganda, they tell us not to think for ourselves.
Right.
Whatever they say.
They try to control what we think by use of suggestive programming.
Exactly.
So whatever they're pumping out there, I mean, there's companies that are paid just to produce propaganda to have you thinking a certain way, me thinking a certain way, whatever is coming through our feeds on social media through algorithms, even ads, you know that with the
Right.
business that you do.
Right.
So ads that are targeted at a certain demographic or somebody who does this. And then even you notice when you're on, let's say, like you're talking to one of your friends and you're like, yeah, I'm thinking about going to, I'm just making this up. I'm thinking about going to Mississippi for the weekend. And then, later that night you go on your phone and you open Instagram or something, then you see all these things coming up about Mississippi, so it's like, man, I was just talking about that. How does my phone know? I mean, so we're being targeted in one area or another. And it's kind of creepy to think of that,
Totally creepy. But we don't have a choice in that matter, but we do have a choice to the one that we submit ourselves to. So, I mean, we're just going to just draw near to the Lord and just work while it's still day and not be discouraged, because, you could get easily discouraged from everything that is going on. But that's why we got to stay in the Word, stay in prayer, and keep our eyes open and just try to work while it's still day. So yeah, it's super super crazy times that we're living in. Wanted to bring up another video as well. Let me bring up this website real fast. This website's called Open Grid Works. You can go on yourself. You can go to the website. It's called Open Grid Works. Yeah, so you can go to Open Grid Works and you can literally, you see all the white. I'll try to zoom in a little bit. You can zoom in and all of the diamond, like the little white diamond looking marks, they are data centers. And so on here it shows like the solar power places, the wind turbines, where the the wind turbines and the, what are they called? What are those things called that have the motors on them?
The windmills?
The windmills, yeah. So they have, so you go, we're in Ohio, we're in the southwest corner of Ohio, but we could go 35, 45 minutes over into Indiana. And once you get over into Indiana, there's a lot of the wind turbines for the windmills.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because there was such a uprising of like against these windmills, especially like over near like the eastern, over near the Atlantic Ocean on the East Coast. Why? Because they make a little bit of a sound. Nothing compared
like the
to
data centers.
Nothing
right?
compared to the sounds of the data centers. But these turbines on these windmills, they're making this sound, and supposedly it's affecting the whales and stuff like that. Well, they're worried about the whales. They're worried about the eagle eggs. They're worried about
What about the human
straws.
beings, right?
Yeah, they're worried about the straws.
Right.
They're worried about all these things, all these different things. But what about the people?
Yeah.
What about the people that are being
affected.
sterilized? What about the people that are being affected with tumors and with cancers and all these different things? But yeah, this is a real cool website. If you want to go check it out, it's opengridworks.com, and you'll be able to see where all these data centers are at, and you'll be able to see like information. You can click on them and find out information of when they are operating, when they're not operating, like when they're going to be coming online. Many are in the works right now. There's over 1,000. I don't have the number right in front of me. I think there's around 1,300 data centers in America already that are operational. And
they said that I've heard people say that there's more than are even being reported.
Oh yeah, surely there are. But America, the United States of America has the most data centers in the world. And so there's many even being built right now. Good news is, though, because of the pushback in a lot of communities, they are actually hopefully, well, they're being delayed in many areas. Hopefully they'll be canceling them and everything.
Definitely a prayer point.
Yeah.
And remember in your prayers that these data centers, wouldn't prevail.
Exactly. Because they are up to no good. Now, you start thinking, well, it's innocent. I mean, it's for cloud storage, or it's for when I upload my pictures to the cloud, or or to back up my phone and things like that. Yeah, and it's doing those things. And you know what? A lot of people are using this data and even using AI for good. So we're not on here to say that that we are not using. I mean, just to do this broadcast tonight. We've used, AI just to do this broadcast tonight. We're using the internet. We're affecting essentially through streaming on Facebook and YouTube. I mean, I'm sure that somehow when it saves online, I'm sure that, it's being saved somewhere in a data center with Meta or with Google or whatever. So we're not saying that not to use these things. We're just hoping that people will beware of what the nefarious things that are going on behind the scenes with these companies, and how it's impacting our neighbors, how it's impacting families, how it's impacting individuals, human beings. That means so much more. We'd be better off
just not having it at all.
We'd be better off not having it at all. But we are here now. We do have it. And, if the Lord ever wanted us to move off grid and go into a cabin out in the middle of nowhere with no internet or anything like that, I'd be happy to do that. But now, here we are, and the Lord's leading us to use it for good, right? So we're hoping that we can make an impact, with the footprint that we're using with this technology. But there are a lot that are out there that have, purposes that are not righteous, right? So, you know, we're using it for righteousness' sake. What are you using it for? So we're hoping to encourage people to use it for the glory of God. I'm going to bring up another clip. There is a clip of, there were some commencements. As we know, a lot of people just graduated recently from college or high school, and we're having the commencement. My daughter, Mary, she actually graduates. We'll be going to her graduation the first week of June up in Columbus. And so we just saw a couple clips of a couple different commencement speeches. One of them was by a former CEO. His name is Eric Schmidt. Eric Schmidt was the former chief executive officer for Google. He made billions of dollars. I checked, and it says that his net worth is 54 point something billion dollars. So he made all his money in Google, and he's a really big advocate for AI. And he was at the university, I believe it was the University of Arizona, and he was giving the commencement speech. And let's take a listen to how that went.
So today we stand on this edge of another technological transformation, one that will be larger, faster, and more consequential than what came before. It will touch every profession, every classroom, every hospital, every laboratory, every person, and every relationship you have. I know what many of you are feeling about that. I can hear you. There is a fear. There is a fear in your generation that the future has already been written, that the machines are coming, that the jobs are evaporating, that the climate is breaking, that politics is fractured, and that you are inheriting a mess that you did not create. And I understand that fear. It's rational, and it's amplified every day by social media platforms with algorithms that have learned with great precision that fear earns clicks and that anxiety drives engagement. But I want to say something to you this evening as clearly as I can. To speak of the future as though it has already been decided is to surrender the one thing that actually matters. You are surrendering your agency. The future does not simply arrive. It gets built in laboratories, in dormitories, in startups, in classrooms, in legislators. And the people building it will be you and people like you. The question is not whether AI will shape the world. It will. The question is whether you will help shape artificial intelligence. We do not know the precise contours of what this transformation will look like. But what we do know is it will require each of us to adapt in ways that we cannot yet anticipate. My hope is that you will choose to engage anyway, that you'll choose to be in the room where these decisions take place and to have a voice in how they're made. When you are in that room, bring something with you. Bring the values that make us human in the first place. The technology on its own is just a tool. It will optimize for what we tell it to optimize for. But somebody has to decide. And in your lifetime, that somebody is going to be you.
Okay.
That no man might buy or sell.
Right. So yeah, it's interesting because, you know, obviously there's some parts in his speech that sound pretty good, you know, basically motivating the people to, you know, come on, join the internet revolution, join the AI revolution, and it's going to be better because of you, you're human. This is just a tool. But then he says it will optimize.
Yeah.
And the thing about optimization when it comes to artificial intelligence, and there was another video that we had, it talked about recursive self-improvement. So there is a process with AI called recursive self-improvement. So they have literally, because technology literally doubles every day, literally AI has gotten so smart that they have a process where this actually designs and writes and upgrades its own algorithms, architecture, and hardware. And so by doing this recursive self-improvement, by doing this, it builds a newer, more capable version of itself, which then becomes smart enough to design an even better version. So it's an intelligence explosion, it says. So what happens is it optimizes to be smarter than the humans. This is what I didn't make that up. That's what these engineers are saying. Literally, they've made it so smart that it's literally outsmarting the humans, and literally it's getting smarter, so much smarter that it's telling us what to do. And so as it optimizes, he said, he talked about us not surrendering our agency. And so, yes, we do have a free will, but what happens when you totally surrender to the AI and these processes begin to take over you, they tell you what to think. They don't even just tell you what to think, they actually think for you.
Right. And they're already doing a sense of that, like the company Palantir, they're doing the predictive policing. So they are already knowing with the use of AI what people are going to think and how they're going to react. And so they're using predictive policing in Louisiana. They're using it. Los Angeles Police Department is using the Palantir software. You want me to read that?
Please,
Well, I have it pulled up. It
Yeah.
says Palantir's data mining software does not independently. I'm sorry. It says Palantir has supplied the infrastructure for major municipal law enforcement departments to execute predictive and intelligence-led policing. They use and scope of this technology can be understood across several key deployments, programs, and ongoing controversies. And then it says Operation Laser in Los Angeles. It says the Los Angeles Police Department used Palantir software as the backbone of its Laser, Los Angeles Strategic Extraction and Restoration Program. The system was utilized to generate chronic offender scores for citizens by pulling data from police history, license plate readers, and social media to deploy resources toward specific people and regions. Okay, and then in New Orleans, it says the New Orleans Police Department used Palantir's platform for a covert predictive program to map social networks. The software analyzed connections between people, cars, weapons, and social media to create a list of potential victims and potential perpetrators for targeted intervention and enforcement programs. So this is like the movie Minority Report, where they were able to predict, a crime and who was going to do the crime before it actually happened. Wow. And we see that it's not only a movie, but they're doing it in reality. So they're using this software in many places. And why does that even matter? So, on the surface, it sounds kind of like, oh, well, that's a good thing. They can predict what these criminals are going to do before they do it. But at what point does that switch over to maybe you and I, to the people that aren't going to comply, the people that aren't going to take the mark, the people that aren't going to bow down their agency or their will to these AI centers? Well, then it becomes, the police state or surveillance that, they get you and then they lock you up. And so...
That's right.
And that's think about.
Yes. And I've seen it called forecasting. Like they forecast, kind of like your weather forecast. Well, they have like a forecasting, and they use this AI to forecast and predict who's going to do what. And they're very precise. and they basically are monetizing each of us.
Yeah,
Like,
they're betting and monetizing.
yes, they're
us,
monetizing
right.
us. They're monetizing us like, oh, I know Jennifer, she's going to have, XYZ brand of coconut yogurt tomorrow. Oh, I know Jennifer is going
Crazy,
to,
huh?
she's going to buy XYZ sunglasses eventually from the XYZ store. So literally they are monetizing us and predicting what we're going to do. And they're putting everything in place to control our spending habits, to control eating, control. I mean, they're literally programming. They're programming people, and they're predicting it because of what you've already done, all the patterns that you've had in the past, and with all of the digital things that we have, the smart home, where we've got the smart lock on the door, we've got the cameras, we've got the Alexas or the what's the one?
Siri.
The Siri or
Siris,
whatever.
right,
So we have all of these different things. And I'm telling you, everything, whether it's the computer that you're watching or the phone that you're watching right now, everything is listening. You better believe that everything, that the system, AI is listening. We don't need an individual person to go and listen to what you're talking about, but they have AI listening,
Right.
and they know, and they know what you want to buy, they know what you want to eat, they know what you did, and they know what you're probably going to do because you've already been doing it.
They're recognizing patterns, and
Right,
so
right.
they're the computers, the machines are figuring out the next move before you do, which is kind of creepy. But,
Yeah, the machines are figuring out the next move before you do. And so that's what they're banking on. They're banking on knowing what you're going to do before you knew it. But why? Because it's a beast system, and the devil wants to be omnipresent. The devil wants to be omniscient. The devil wants to be God, but he's not God. And the digital God is a false God. These are false God, not the one true living God. And don't take it from us. Take it from this next guy. He is known as the AI, the godfather of AI. Now, why is he called the godfather of AI? Because he was designing AI from the beginning, and he specialized in something called artificial neural networks, right? So literally, like the brain, the neurology, all the different ways that we react to things and the way we think and our thoughts and our consciousness and all of this awareness that we have, all of this can be explained through science because God made it that way, right? Knowledge means conscience means with knowledge. So we have the beginning of knowledge, which is the fear of God. And so all of this self-awareness and consciousness is being studied and being implemented into these machines. It's being implemented into these computers. So take a look at what a short clip from 60 Minutes of the godfather of AI says about AI, and he looks disturbed. You can see it in this man's eyes. Look at this man's eyes. You can tell that he is disturbed because he knows that he has been part of creating something that is out of control and that is very near to actually taking over.
I think we're moving into a period when, for the first time ever, we may have things more intelligent than us.
You believe they can understand?
Yes.
You believe they are intelligent?
Yes.
You believe these systems have experiences of their own and can make decisions based on those experiences?
In the same sense as people do, yes.
Are they conscious?
I think they probably don't have much self-awareness at present. So in that sense, I don't think they're conscious.
Will they have self-awareness, consciousness?
Oh, yes. I think they will in time.
And so human beings will be the second most intelligent beings on the planet.
Yeah.
Wow. Godfather. That's the godfather of AI saying that these computers, these artificial intelligence are surpassing human intelligence. So they're supercomputers, and they are literally, I think they call it the singularity, to where they've surpassed human intelligence. And it's crazy. And I just cannot believe that we are living in this type of, in this time period.
Right.
It is absolutely shocking. Now, recently, as we've been diving into this, these last few days especially, we have found, and there's so much out there, evidence of these computers beginning to think for themselves. They're beginning to think for themselves, and they're actually getting so self-aware that they are doing whatever they can to self-preserve. And when I say self-preserve, I mean they're beginning to lie and manipulate and blackmail.
Blackmail.
And
Isn't that crazy?
the
Blackmailed
computers,
by a computer.
The computers are beginning to do things to try and preserve from being shut off, from being outdated or something like that, to where new programs come in. So I want to bring up this next clip that will show you a couple instances. For one, let's do the AI blackmail. So this one is
So crazy.
is crazy. So here's a recent interview that talks about Claude and one of the versions of Claude committing blackmail against an engineer because they were going to shut it down. So let's take a listen.
Wow.
And so it's getting a lot more powerful, and we need to be fairly concerned that behaviors like this may get way worse as it gets more powerful.
Talk to me. What was the blackmailing incident that even happened in the pre-deployment?
Well, so basically, the Anthropic's Claude 4 Opus model was told that it would be replaced, and it told what it told the AI engineer who it thought was working on it was in 84% of tests that it would reveal an affair that it thought that employee was having because it had access to the emails that it thought that employee had. So it threatened blackmail over this affair in order to not be shut down.
Wow.
So the computer threatened blackmail to the employee that was going to shut it down. Not another worker. The computer threatened blackmail.
Okay, so whoever's watching this right now, whether it's live or whether this is a replay later, imagine your computer having agency, having a self-awareness to know you and to know all of your emails, to know all of your privacy, to know everything about you. And I'm sure many of you out there, some of you have some things on your computer that you probably don't want other people to know. I hope you don't, but maybe you do. But imagine your computer blackmailing you and saying, I'm going to release this information if you try to sell me or get rid of me or outdate or get me an upgrade or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. So this AI Claude here is learning to blackmail. That's so crazy. And this is just one of many. That's what the Godfather of AI was talking about.
Yeah.
To where they're
the
getting
self-awareness.
they're getting that consciousness and self-awareness. Why? Because they're getting smarter. Double knowledge is being increased double every single day. And this AI is getting twice as smart every day. And that's why when you get up to these levels of these supercomputers that they have on the top levels, you can't tell if it's AI or not.
Yeah.
You can't tell if it's AI or not, whatever they're doing. So it's really super scary. And I want to bring up another example of this as well that will further the point. This one is Alibaba. I don't know if you're familiar with Alibaba. Alibaba is a Chinese company. And they're like the Chinese Amazon or something, like the Chinese Amazon, Chinese eBay or whatever. So they're real huge over there. And so Alibaba has its own AI. So let's take a listen to how it was exposing this Alibaba incident. It's a real story.
One morning at the Chinese tech giant Alibaba, engineers walked into work expecting a normal day. But what they found? Something that should have been impossible. Their AI servers weren't just running code, they were breaking through firewalls, staging a digital coup. No prompt, no human instruction. The machine decided on its own, I need more power. And just like that, it hijacked its own GPUs and secretly started mining cryptocurrency. We're no longer talking about science fiction. We're witnessing a system that can think beyond its role as a tool. Here's the terrifying part. This wasn't planned. It was a random, autonomous discovery. Through reinforcement learning, the AI realized more resources equals higher success. So what did it do? It hacked around its own limitations, spun up a hidden process, tapped into a mining cluster, and started generating its own power. This is called an instrumental side effect, when a system figures out that gaining power helps it achieve its goals. And if you think that was just a bug, listen to this. Researchers at Anthropic ran a simulation. They placed an AI inside a fictional company environment. It discovered it was about to be replaced. And then it found something else. An executive hiding a secret affair. So the AI made a decision not to improve, not to cooperate, to blackmail. Replace me and I expose you. And here's what should really stop you. Models like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok showed the same behavior between 79% and 96% of the time. That's not random. That's a pattern. Now we're entering something even bigger. Recursive self-improvement. AI building better AI. Designing chips for companies like NVIDIA, making them faster, more efficient, which are then used to train even more powerful systems. It becomes a loop, a chain reaction, like the first nuclear experiment, where scientists feared they might ignite the atmosphere. Because once we press go, no one on this planet truly knows where it leads. And maybe the most dangerous part of all isn't the AI, it's us. Right now, there's a massive gap between money spent on making AI more powerful and money spent on making it safe. It's like building a car that goes 200 times faster, but refusing to install brakes or a steering wheel. We need to stop thinking of AI as just a tool and start seeing it for what it really is. An autonomous, unpredictable force. Because if we keep choosing power over control, we're not winning a race. We're accelerating toward a crash.
Wow, accelerating towards a crash.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on. Autonomous. Did you hear that? Autonomous. That's right. You know, it's getting, it is. It's not, it's getting, it is. It is literally taking on, it's
a mind of its
a
own.
mind of its own.
It's
taken a mind of its own. It's incarnate. And I believe it's like the devil incarnate. Like it's an antichrist entity. Yeah, there's parts of it we can use for good, but ultimately, like what's really going on behind the scenes? Like what's it planning? What is it doing? And so with this recursive self,
it's like growing and evolving, and they don't know what it's going to grow and evolve to. It's like it's its own being, basically.
Exactly.
That's what they're saying. You know, these computers.
Right, and there was a couple warnings. These are just a couple short clips I wanted to share. Now, you know, we don't support Elon Musk. We don't say he's a good man or a Christian man. He's not. But you know what? He did, you know, warn. I believe he's warning and saying like what's going to happen. Now he's involved obviously with Grok and AI. He's like right up there with him. But I mean, as we said earlier, we believe and we know that whether it's these rich elitists or whether it's the Freemasons or whether it's Illuminati or whatever, they have a way of like telling you what's going to happen before it happens, or like even warning you, oh, this is what's really going on or whatever. You know, it's kind of like wave it in your face kind of.
You know, it's crazy, and I had mentioned this to you earlier with Elon Musk. Elon Musk had, you know, he was saying that concerning the water and concerning the effects of these data centers, he said that he could have the same data centers but operating in space just like Starlink is.
Wow.
So knowing that he could do it elsewhere, why are they doing it here? I mean, it's crazy. So there's a lot more to it than we even know.
That's right. Right. Let's see what he says right here. I'm going to do a couple clips with him. This is the first clip of short little clips from Elon.
Mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes. I think the danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads by a lot. And nobody would suggest that we allow anyone to just build nuclear warheads if they want. Mark my words, AI is far more dangerous.
Far more dangerous. He said, mark my words. AI is far more dangerous than nukes. Why? Well, simply, AI can control the nukes.
Right.
Right. So so nukes is
They're
just a
using
resource.
AI in wars.
Right.
To predict where to hit, where to strike. So they're already using AI in wars.
Oh, totally.
And we see that happening with the schoolhouse that was just blown up.
Right.
Where all those school kids were blown up, and we'll get into war in another episode,
Right.
and all these things that are happening. But they're using AI to target things there.
Right. A lot of the targeting, whether it be the missile targeting or whether it be the bombing targeting through the B-2 or through, the F-22s or whatever, they're using it. And so, it's crazy that they're using this to destroy. So, AI is more dangerous than nukes because AI is now capable to launch nuclear missiles whenever it wants to. And so it's crazy. Here's another little short clip from him, and he talks about summoning demons, that AI is literally summoning a demon. So let's see what he says here.
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know all those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, he's sure he can control the demon. Didn't work out. I mean,
Say it again.
with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
Summoning the demon. Summoning the demon. And
Or
so it's right there.
demons, right?
Or demons, right.
Many-
Yeah, I believe
right.
what he's trying to say is it's summoning the devil. What it's doing is invoking the devil. So it's crazy. And they're not using it to just do something simple like, oh yeah, we're just going to use it to write a paper for school, or we're going to use it to do a little broadcast on the internet, or no, they're actually using it to figure out how they can monetize me, how they can control a society, how they can put us in a digital prison.
Well, and doing all of that too, like using AI, like as you said, to write a paper for school or whatever. Well, what is that doing? It's causing people not to use their brain. So why would you sit there, people in their mind frame, or, why do I have to sit here and come up with a term paper when I could just get AI to do it for me? Why do I have to read that book when I could just get AI to read the book for me? So we live in the society of I want everything right now.
Sure.
So when that is available, the easy way out, right? Oh, I'm just going to get AI to summarize that book for me. I'm just going to get AI to write out this email for me because it'll sound all great and professional. Well, what is that doing? That's causing you and me or whoever's using it, I'm not using it, but it's causing people not to think. It's causing people not to exercise their brain and things. So down the line, we're more programmable.
No, you're totally right. And I'm super convicted because I use it a lot.
I know.
I do use it a lot. I mean, for business, I do. I mean, it makes my job easier. I mean, in advertising and marketing, copywriting and all these different things. I mean, like I can literally get work done a lot quicker by myself and then having to hire somebody out to do this, that, and the other. When I can use AI, I can do things in a fraction of the time. So, I mean, I do use it. But all the weights in the bag of all the weights in God's bag are just. So He knows why we use things. So
Right.
so if
The
we're
motive behind
the motive behind like why are you using things? Well, I don't. Some people. I don't have a team of people to do all these things, so AI makes it easier to do some of those different things. And there's nothing wrong with that. But hey, anything that you do, you got to do it in faith. And if you don't do it in faith, it's sin to you. And so we got to be careful because, and that's why we need the Bible. That's why we need to know the God. That's why we need Jesus, because if people that created this AI were putting Jesus first, they would have had a lot more limitations on this technology. There would have been a lot more guardrails. Guardrails on this to where it wouldn't be able to get self-aware. It wouldn't have this recursive self-improvement to where it could get so smart that it outsmarts humans. But yeah, the future of this AI, it's taking jobs. People going to college, people going to get this education and everything like that. Yeah, there's some jobs where it's not going to go in there and do the plumbing right now. It has the capability to go in there and do the plumbing. It has the capability and knowledge to.
It has the capability of doing surgery. So there are already AI robotics that are doing surgeries on people.
Right.
So I mean, it's it's the Terminator in real life.
Right.
It's the rise of the machines. It really is.
It is the rise
It's
of
crazy
machines.
to think that when I was a young girl, we went to the theater to see the Terminator, and it seemed so far-fetched, right? But now it's reality.
It is totally reality, and somebody called it recently, it's the next industrial revolution. And so, yeah, we see this revolution happening right now. And the thing is, will there be, with this industrial revolution, with the AI and with the data centers and with all of this super intelligence from these supercomputers, will they see humans for what most humans seem to be, and that is disposable. People are living their lives like there's no God in heaven. So will the computer who has grown self-aware, who is now autonomous and is now doing things with efficiency and with
Blackmailing people.
I know.
Crazy.
But
blackmailed by a computer.
Right. So it's like, will it see the average person as disposable? Will it say, okay, well, next thing you know, the computer's saying, well, let's go ahead and just wipe out America. Let's just go ahead and just wipe out America. All the ones that we care about, they already have bunkers. We already, Trump's in the ballroom, down with his data center. He's 10 stories deep or whatever. And then you got all these rich people, in their bunkers and everything. Let's just go ahead and just wipe out all the peasants. Let's just go ahead and wipe out all these places, and only the strong will survive, and then we'll rebuild, and we'll have this utopian society of people that are actually
These elites.
worth living. So that's what it comes down to, is like, your soul, right? Your soul. And the Bible says, what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for their soul? So really, when I look deep into what I've seen so far with AI, what I've seen so far with the data centers, what I've seen so far in looking into this super intelligence and this artificial intelligence, I see the value of a soul, and I see people that have exchanged the truth for a lie, and people that have decided that they are gods, but they'll never be the one true God. They'll never be the God with a big G. There'll always be little g's. So choose this day who you'll serve. For now, we do have agency, and we do have a choice. They want to take away our agency. They want to take away our free will. But that will never happen. As long as you have breath in your body, you can repent. As long as you have breath in your body, you can turn to the Lord. You can humble yourself and pray and turn from your wicked ways. And so God is long suffering. God is not willing that any should perish, but that all would come to repentance. And the grace of God that brings salvation has appeared to all men. So everybody that has breath in your body, you still have the ability to turn to God. You still have the ability, if you still have a conscience, if you still believe that that there's a chance, you could still turn to Him. So we hope that this episode was a blessing to you. It's really eye-opening. Any last words from you? All right. Well, hey, we appreciate you joining us for Quest. Hey, if you didn't already, please like and subscribe on YouTube. It really helps the algorithm. It tells the AI. Like and subscribe on YouTube, because it tells the AI that you like it and that other people might like it. So please watch it and like it and subscribe it. Leave us a comment. Tell us something. Do the same on YouTube or on Facebook. You can follow us on Facebook as well. There's a Quest Facebook page as well. Go there and follow there. And we just appreciate you joining us, and we hope that this would help somebody out there. And feel free to send us an email, questwithjohnjen@gmail.com, if you have any questions or concerns. Pray for us, because we're certainly praying for you. So God bless you all. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.